Oh, this was actually a really hard video to make. It took me a little bit of time to play these games and curate this list, but thanks so much for the donations of the Patreons and viewers like you for making this all possible. Now, I can't always whip out some big, awesome video like this, but when I can, I definitely, I really like it. I really enjoy it, so hopefully we can make more of these. But this is going to be fighting games that are free to play, and, well, fighting games are already niche and weird, so trying to find free to play ones was actually really difficult, but I found some games that might blow your brains. You might be like, wait, that's a fighting game? Oh, wait, no, I can yeah, you're going to have some fun, dudes. Now, some of them aren't online, and some of them are only online. It's a really weird mix match. Honestly, it's a really weird top 10 list anyways, but hopefully in the end, we can all have some fun. And that's the dream. Let's keep the hype alive. Here, my top 10 free-to-play fighting games list. Alright guys, starting out the list, and I really wanted to set the tone with this one, and it's gonna be Deep.io. Now, immediately, you guys are like, okay, Sky, you're doing this again. You do this every video, and maybe, hopefully, you guys are, you're gonna be on for the ride. But some of you guys, your hands are straight up. You're gonna keyboard warrior and say this is not a fighting game. Listen to me, guys. Deep.io actually does have a 1v1 mode, and when I played it, I legitimately thought that this was like a really awesome, kind of sumo-like fighting game. You actually have different characters that you can utilize that have their own different passives and specials and, different moves like you expect in the full Deep.io game, which I know they have like the Battle Royale version, they have the vanilla, lots of different ways to play Deep.io, but the 1v1 actually does kind of feel like a really unique and interesting fighting game. There's even juggling. You can legitimately like air juggle people. There's combos, kind of, sort of. Now, it's not going to be the mechanical input that you're used to, but then again, a lot of games on this list are going to be really weird. Hopefully you guys are cool with that, and if you want to expand your horizons, which I'm assuming you click on this video to do, you should check out the 1v1 in Deep.io. Okay, next up on our very strange, weird list, and it'll be a little bit more uniform later, but oh man, no, we gotta pop out the Normal Human Face Simulator. Now, this is a local two-player game of two faces trying to bite each other's face off. There you go. I love how the feature list, it actually says a bullet point, gratifying chewing noises. Yes, so it is going to have like this deformative, kind of like animated physics with the face, the skin kind of flopping off, the muscles tearing apart. It might seem a little bit gruesome and gory, but I think it's actually kind of a fun little party-ish game. Now, half or maybe most of the fighting game population is really in it for that party game mentality and experience. So here you go, dude, just jump down with your dudes and bite their faces off. And before, it's not a fighting game, dude, it's kind of totally a fighting game, right? Because like, you're just fighting with your face. All right, next up on the list, moving through, number 8, Eggnog Plus. Might look a little bit familiar. Might look a lot like a game called Needhog. Because it is, it's a clone. However, this is a free clone of the game that actually, I kind of like its art direction a little bit better. Now, I know we have Needhog 2, and I myself have went to tournaments for Needhog, so that was kind of my jam. I understand some love there, but I actually think this game is kind of good for the community, and it helps people who don't want to buy a game that has no players anymore, super niche and weird. You can just jump in for free and try it out. And yeah, it's a fun party game, absolutely. You're gonna get people screaming. So the really unique thing about this style of game that was pioneered by Needhog, and now you can play on Eggnog, is that, yeah, it's a cute fencing game, and it's got some weird pixely graphics or whatever. It can be uproarious gameplay, but the gameplay itself isn't just set in one arena, one screen. You actually have multiple screens as you progress through a level and you try to get to the very end. But of course, you have somebody in front of you. It's a fighting game, and they're going to try to get to their end. You have to get a kill to go to the next screen, and so on and so forth. And it's actually really cool, really intricate fencing mechanics. You can throw, grapple, some really cool stuff, some platforming mechanics. I appreciate it, and I actually prefer Eggnog over Needhog because the graphics are just a little bit more clean. And of course, being free to play, I can go anywhere, anytime, and be like, hey, you want to jam to some cool games? I got one that I think you're going to have fun with. And almost every time, yeah, they do. So hopefully you do too. All right, next up, I've got to put down a title, classic, absolutely tried and true though. Tori Bash. This is a weird game, and maybe debatably should or should not be on this list, but I think, yeah, no, it should be on this list because it's a beautiful concept that turns the idea of a fighter on its head, where fighting games are these real-time interaction games. It's all about mechanical intensivity. It's all about the reactions, the parries. No, Tori Bash is actually turn-based, and you program your moves so that when the turn executes, they happen and occur in real time. So it's got this strategy element to it, and it is a simulated physics game. Like, you can do so much ridiculous stuff like, I don't know, like a butterfly backflip, bicycle kick. I'm just making up stuff, alliteration hype, but Tori Bash is a title that's been around since 2006. So you guys have probably played this, and if you haven't, this is absolutely a classic, which is why it's landing itself on this list, despite being so weird and strange. But then again, you guys should know me by now. I like promoting the weird and strange games, especially if they break genre terms so much as this. But yeah, if you're a fan of fighting games and you really like that mentality and you want to play something free with your friends that's silly, goofy, but kind of intense, Tori Bash, 100% since 2006 has been that game. Next up on the list, I'm going to put Killer Instinct. Now, it's only so low on the list because there are some limitations, such as you have a one-character rotation, though I think you can always play as Jago, and you have to play on Xbox or the Windows Store. The Steam version does not actually have a free-to-play mode, and it's not actually cross-platform playable, so a lot of weird stuff going on Killer Instinct, especially with the low population, splitting it like that. I don't know. But if you actually get into the game, it's a great resource for actually learning how to play a proper combo-oriented 2D fighter, and Killer Instinct is known for its ultra combos. It's so sick. It's actually really easy to jump into, the auto combo system, but it does have a fantastic teaching tutorial system, and overall, I love the sound design. It's actually freaking fantastic. Also, I'm such a fan of the character designs. Each character really different, really unique, and it kind of reminded me of like MOBAs at the time were really exploding, and you know, all the different characters in MOBAs. Normally, fighting game characters can kind of be more or less the same or literally clones or echoes of each other, but Killer Instinct is like, whoa, man, every character is like radical, different, exciting. Definitely some cheese involved with Killer Instinct, I think, you know, aesthetically and maybe to an extent the sound design, but overall, I'm a fan of it. I think it looks cool, and despite the limitations, it still has to make it on the list because of the experience as a new player. Even though restrictive, is still very educational, I think engrossing, and can make you want to play more and more through the weekly rotations or by spending money. But regardless, Killer Instinct, I have to slap it on the list. Alright guys, halfway on the list, I've got something that you might fight over, and that's going to be Battlefight. Number 5 here because it kind of plays not like a fighting game in some ways, especially the 3v3. It's going to start to feel more like its actual parent genre, which is the brawler genre. There's going to be games like For Honor, you could even call Dark Souls PvP something like that, or Absolver. These 3D games that aren't set in a single screen or a small little domed arena, we have something that's a little bit bigger. The arena, the level actually, is much more intensive here, and the gameplay is going to revolve around that. So Battlefight, you jump down, there is a stadium at Coliseum, but you have free movement around that, and you do play in a much more dynamic fashion than just normal back and forth, what you would expect from a 2D or standard fighter. So this is the brawler genre, sure, but it's also kind of a fighting game. Whenever you get 1v1, it does still technically play in a 2D plane here. You can play 1v1, there are combos, but it does have cooldowns, and it does in a lot of ways have mechanics that feel very MOBA-ish, but it does have full aiming. You do control with WASD, and it's very skill-based. The skill floor is actually kind of high, and the skill ceiling is also pretty high too, so I appreciate it. And generally, fighting games, you don't have a lot of co-op, or you don't have 2v2 or 3v3 fighting games, so Battlefight kind of allows that, or the brawler genre does. So wanted to give a shout out to that, wanted to show it off, and I think a lot of you guys wouldn't complain too much about this making the list, at least halfway through. Big 4, I'm talking about Icons Combat Arena. This is a game that I just played, and actually, I had a lot of fun with it. Now, gameplay and the trailer and the character design and just aesthetically how it looks, honestly, is not so invoking, especially, some other games graphically are more stylistic. I know we have the Brawlouts, and we've got, I guess you can say like Rivals of Aether if you like pixel art, and of course, the Smash Bros. Game. There's actually a ton of platform fighters out there, but I think that mechanically this is actually a pretty sound game. Now, the developers are called Wave Dash, and they're heavily inspired by Melee, and that's what you're gonna get. There's actually some clone characters in here, and maybe coming from me, since I didn't play too much Melee, this is actually really exciting, especially as a free-to-play game. I think it could do good. I think it definitely will compete. Now, maybe not as a whole on a world stage next to, obviously, the Big Smash, this being a clone of that, essentially, but it's definitely interesting, it's intriguing, and if they can polish it up, it's gonna be great. So it's actually gonna be landing here really soon. Probably by the time you watch this video, you'll be able to jump in for free as well and try it out for yourself. Next up on our list, we have Blade Symphony. This is going to be a free-to-play game. Hopefully by the time you watch this video, it will be free, but in before, it's not free-to-play, Sky. It will be. Shh. Blade Symphony is kind of like a fencing fighting game. I would say that, but I really can't stress how intricate the game feel is for this title. Like, if you really like fighting games, I'm assuming you like them because of those ridiculous mechanical inputs, the combos, and the overall feel of the complexity. No matter what fighting game you're playing, there's generally a feel of, okay, there is some complexity somewhere when it comes to player inputs. If it's movement in platform fighters, if it's the literal button mashing in 2D fighters, what have you, Blade Symphony does have something like that. It is really ridiculous and kind of touchy controls. So that's why I say it's like a fencing game, and there is literally fencing like styles and stuff like that in this title. But anyways, it's more of a brawler. If you like For Honor, you're gonna kind of like this game, possibly. And if you like the looks of Soul Calibur, you might possibly like this game too. But even though this game looks like those titles, I cannot stress how very weird it controls, and of course, it plays and feels. So absolutely, as soon as this thing hits free to play, every single one of you watching this video should give it a shot, because it is an experience, even no matter what it looks like, you're not gonna get anywhere else. Well, hopefully you guys have kept the hype alive, but now at number 2, I'm gonna throw a curveball again, Blade and Soul. Now, this shouldn't be too surprising if you just consider the 1v1. Now, Blade and Soul is a Kung Fu or wuxia styled MMO, and Hyungtae Kim, award-winning artist, oh my god, I love the art for this game, crafted such a beautiful character design, and I think sexiness and martial arts really kind of go hand to hand. So basically, Blade and Soul looks really freaking cool. That's why it's so high on the list, even despite its age. But it's actually technically an esport, especially over in Korea. It's doing pretty great, I think, for its streams. Generally, this niche genre, Blade and Soul's doing pretty good. 1v1 Blade and Soul is seriously some of the most intense fighting I've ever seen in finals. It does gonna play like a brawler, like I said, Blade Symphony, Battle Right, For Honor. It's gonna be kind of like that, but if you can play this game with good ping and you can dive into it deeply, or hey, just follow the scene, follow the competitive scene, you're gonna see some crazy, ridiculous, yes, Kung Fu fighting stuffs. I really like it. Now, we don't have too many great free-to-play Kung Fu fighters, so this is gonna, assuredly gonna be on the list, but also with my background of online MMOs and things like that, I had to put down a game that potentially you could Kung Fu fight in the massive scale as well, and the PvE does exist too, so this is a pretty mixed bag, but then again, if you just consider the 1v1 scene, yeah, this is totally a fighter. It totally earns its spot on this list, but it kind of goes plus ultra and goes a little bit more, so I think you guys would appreciate that too. Now, if you survived this far, well, I just want to say thank you very much. But if you're like me and you are appreciating all these weird different types of games, then I got some honorable mentions I think, I want to mention here for you. First up, Super Bash Goats. Should be pretty self-explanatory. It's goats that bash into each other. I think it's kind of super. There we go. It was actually done as a school project, and I think it surprisingly looks pretty cute. Again, if you like the kind of party aspect of fighting games, well, literally, here we go. Party fighting game. And then we have Fatal Flash. This was done as a Kickstarter demo, so you can play the demo right now. I don't know if you would really consider those as free to play, but you can have a pretty nice experience with this as well. It's kind of niche a little bit, but I really like games like this. And I know there's some YouTubers that are making some titles like this. I want them to come out, and I'm really liking the fighting game indie scene and what we're seeing with them taking ideas from MOBAs and taking ideas from platform fighters and really expanding the genre. So here's one of them. Yeah. Next up, a weird platform fighter Frog Smasher game called Frog Smashers. And I don't think I need to really elucidate much about this game. I think it looks pretty good right there to everyone. So I mean, again, the whole party game thing, yeah, Frog Smashers. But a lot of people are really enjoying the whole platform fighter thing. So yeah, man, Frog Smashers, platform fighter with frogs. Let's do it. And lastly, I want to talk about Rising Thunder. Now, fun fact, I actually got to talk to the designer of this very recently for unrelated events over in Irvine, and he was actually really enthusiastic. It made a lot of fighting games and stuff, and yeah, Rising Thunder I thought was really cool. Again, a game that was kind of genre bending. It had MOBA-style cooldowns. What? That was so neat. I didn't like the character design, but you can actually play the final build of the game before it kind of shut down its production. I don't think the online works or anything like that. Maybe it does, but if you want to have a kind of couch fighting competition kind of thing, it's going to be hard to find someone like that around you. But if you do have a local, maybe LAN situation, if you do have people that want to come around and play hardcore fighting games with you, oh my gosh, dude, you can still play Rising Thunder. And even though it has casualized some mechanics, it was actually still a pretty engrossing fighter that deserves to be played as much as possible. I don't know what's going to come from the original code, and League of Legends Riot has it now, so we'll see what comes from there. And I'm excited, but yeah, the original Rising Thunder was actually pretty cool, and I don't know, I kind of wanted to lament that it's passing a little bit, but also let you know it is possible to play it. And now, our number one for free-to-play fighting game, I'm going to put Brawlhalla. Now, it's not a standard fighter, it is a platform fighter, and some people have some conceptions about this game because it's actually freaking popular, but I think most of them are misconceptions. First, it's not just a free-to-play clone. That's more of Icons Combat Arena's, well, arena. Brawlhalla is actually its own unique thing. It's still a platform fighter, and it's very much inspired by Smash, but it has its own stuffs. It actually has its own flow and own feel, mainly because of the weapon throwing and swapping and power-up mechanics. Very strange stuff, and overall, I actually like the weird map design of the title as well. All the different characters maybe aren't so ridiculously explosively different because, it really focuses on the weapon design, but I'm still very much appreciating Brawlhalla's more tame approach to such a colorful and party-oriented genre. Now, I actually put Brawlhalla very highly on my party game list, and I can continue to do that every year, but it's a game that I think is, yeah, it is more tame. And its art style is more Western comic booky, and, it looks kind of cheesy, and I know a lot of people might be hesitant because, oh, it's just a Smash clone, but trust me, guys, there's a reason it is so popular. For one, the art style, love it or hate it, it makes the game run good on any machine. It's really freaking free-to-play. Not every game is equally free-to-play, if you know what I'm saying, right? It's very fair. The game runs great, plays great, anybody can jump into it. You can play it like a party game because it's so silly and seemingly random, but competitively, it is very legitimate. And also know that the esport scene or the high-end scene, the actual skill of this game the feeling of playing the game at that level is going to be a different experience compared to Icons or compared to Smash. It is its own unique platform fighter, which I think is really championing the idea of platform fighters, at least on PC. Literally, deservedly so, its population is showing that. And so, for that, because it's literally earned its merits, I'm gonna put it at number 1 for free-to-play fighting games. So that's going to be the end of the list. I know it was a little bit long-winded, but I really like this genre. And regardless if this gets a lot of views or not, I just want to say thanks so much for watching, sharing, and being a part of it. This video was made thanks to sponsors of the Patreon, literal donations during streams of me playing this game, as well as you guys actually playing these games with me, helping me review them, and of course, the viewers, the watchers, people like you. Thank you very much for keeping the hype alive. Thumbs up and all the call to action YouTube garbage, sure, whatever. Regardless, I'm having fun playing games. I hope you are too. Hopefully you found some new ones.